so we're going to go through a few more examples. So in example 2 here, copy all this diagram down. Then we are naming an angle. So normally when you name an angle, you actually use 3 letters going around the angle. But we can't do that here. So when you're naming an angle here, you'll just name capital B or capital D or little f or little h, whatever the answer is, whatever's in the corner of the angle you need. Okay, so if we look at the first question, we're co-interior to angle D. So here's angle D, so we need to go around that. So there's D, we've gone around it. Co-interior forms a C shape. So I'm going to write that above it. It's forming a C shape. So we have to find another angle that's going to form a C shape with this D here. So remember, we're going to look at it with the parallel lines going across the page. And then I can see that if I go around the E here, I'll get the C shape. It's a back to front C, but it will look right. Okay, so our answer in this one is E, because that's what I had to go around to form the C shape. Okay, the next one, it's alternate to the angle marked with E. So here's the angle marked with E. It's a little bit hard here, but I'm going to just try and change a couple of coloured pens. But the angle marked with E, we'll go around it with the green pen. Alternate is going to be the Z shape. So we've got to see, looking at with the parallel lines across the page, what we need to go around to form a Z. There it is over there. So it's going to be capital C. All right, the next one. So we're going to find what's equal to angle C. Sorry, I'll just underline that in red so we stay the same. Equal to angle C. So here's angle C. Well, we just did alternate angles a minute ago to form this Z shape, and we know that they're equal in parallel lines. So equal to angle C would be E. That would be an answer, little e. There's probably other ones as well. So if you can imagine, if I go round the C shape and I go around the G, I will form an F. So I could say that G is also going to be equal to C, because that's going to be corresponding. All right, so in this one here, we've got a Z shape, and this one's going to be an F shape, and we know that alternate angles are equal, and we know that corresponding angles are equal, so either of these could be your answer. All right, in the next one, it's corresponding to B. Corresponding forms an F shape with B. So if we have a look at capital B, it's up here. We've got to form an F shape. So look at it with the parallel lines across the page. And if we go around that, we will get our F shape. So the one corresponding to B is little f. So these questions are a little bit challenging, but you can do them. Just got to be patient, underline the key words in the question. So this one here, supplementary means adds up to 180 degrees. With the angle that's marked E. So if we come over here, little e is here. And we've got to find another angle that adds up to 180 degrees. Well, the only ones we know that add up to 180 degrees are the co-interior angles which form the C. All right, so we have to find one that forms a C with that. And if you look sideways, it'll have to be that one. Okay, they'll form a C that looks like this. All right, so it's going to be angle D. All right, so just pause the video and just look through that one slowly so you understand it. All right, in this next one, we're finding the value of the pronumerals. Don't forget that pronumerals are letters. So we want to know what the value of the letter equals, how many degrees, and we do have to give reasons. All right, so looking at the first one, again, looking at the parallel lines across the page, we need to go through around the number they've given you, the 61 degrees, and around the letter we're looking for. Now you'll see straight away that we've got a Z shape happening there. So the Z shape means we have alternate angles, and we know that the alternate angles are equal in parallel lines. So that's our reason. We can write that down under here straight away. Now if alternate angles are equal on parallel lines, then A must equal 61 degrees. Okay, the next question. So up here, I want you to get your red pen and extend the parallel lines and extend the transversal, because you're used to looking at it like that. So now we're looking at it with the parallel lines across the page. We're going to go around the number they've given us, 68. We're going to go around the letter they've asked for, the M, join it in the middle, and you'll see that we've got a C shape. And you know that that's co-interior, and you know that co-interior angles add up to 180 degrees on parallel lines. That is our reason. Write the whole thing down. Okay, so if they add up to 180 degrees on parallel lines, they're not equal, you need to start with 180 and take off the 68 they gave you, and that will give you your answer. 112 degrees. All right, looking at the next one, we have two letters to find here. We're going to do them in alphabetical order, just that's the way questions are normally written. But if you want to find B first and then find A, that's fine, there's no reason not to. But just so we're on the same page at the moment, I'm going to find the A first. So, I'm going to go around the 115 degrees and around the A, because that's what we're looking for. If you look at it with your parallel lines across the page, you'll see a C shape. So you know they're co-interior angles. So our reason here is going to be co-interior angles add up to 180 degrees on parallel lines. So that means when we're working it out, we start with 180, take off the number they gave you, and work it out, and you'll get 65 degrees for A. Now once you've got A, if you want you can write it in. I always write it in red, because it might help me get the next one out. So if you like, when you're finding B, you can use that number to help you get that. And there's no problem with that. Just make sure that you write it on your working so that the marker can see what you're doing. I'm not going to use it at this stage just because I'm going to do it a different way, but there's nothing to stop you doing angles on a straight line at up to 180 degrees there. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to still use the 115. So I'm going to go around that with a different colour, with green, and I'm going to go around the B. And you'll see when I do that, I formed a Z shape that looks like that. The Z shape is alternate angles. So we know straight away our reason is going to be alternate angles are equal on parallel lines. And that means that the 115 and the B have to be equal. So B equals 115 degrees. And as I said before, if you want to, you can do angles on a straight line at up to 180 degrees here. Just block out the rest of the diagram and concentrate on that part there. All right, the next one, in D, this is a harder question. All right, so this one is harder. They've given you no help here. They're expecting you to find something that's impossible to do in one step. If I go around the 89 and I go around the Y, it doesn't form any letter. It doesn't form a Z, it doesn't form an F, and it doesn't form a C. So you can't get straight to the answer for Y. So what we're going to do is find something that we can get using the 89. Any angle you like that's going to get you closer to finding y. Okay, so I might find this one here, and I'm just going to call it, I'm going to write in red pen so they can see I've added it in, and I'm just going to call it A. So down here now we're going to write down what A equals. Now, don't forget that when you're doing parallel lines angles, it's not always about alternate corresponding or co-interior angles. As I said over here, we could have used angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. Alright, so other reasons are going to still come into play. So over here, I hope you remember, if we block this part out, that that's just vertically opposite angles up there. So I'm going to write down that A equals 89 degrees. And the reason for that is that vertically opposite angles are equal. Now, like I said with the other one, when you find that answer, write it in red on your diagram. Okay, so now we're going to use that 89 to now get this. So if I use my red pen and go around this 89 degrees and go around my y, you'll see that we're forming an F shape. So the F shape is corresponding angles. So we're going to come down here and write down the reason. Corresponding angles are equal on parallel lines. So our y is going to equal 89 degrees. And that's both of them finished. Alright, so if you can't find the y straight off, you need to find any other angle that's going to help you. Alright, so the only one I wouldn't have found is that one because it's still miles away from where the y is. But you could have found that one using angles on a straight line at up to 180 degrees. You could have done what I did, or you could have used these two as corresponding angles to get to there and then gone to vertically opposite. So there's many ways you can get the correct answer. Just look at it carefully and just make sure that you introduce a new letter with your red pen to find the one you're doing first before you get to the one they want. So we're going to come back in the next video and just finish off a few more examples.